Auzubillahiminashaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today's topic of discussion is China's economic revolution and world power politics. Let's get started. China, our closest neighbor and a long-time strategic ally, is fast emerging as a world power. Where 40 years ago there was a famine, stagnation, poverty, and backwardness, and today it is the second largest economy of the world today. The strongest possibility is that if the same rate of economic growth continues for 10 years, China would overtake the US economy and become the world's number one economic power. This is not the final word, but the opinion of many experts. However, the signs that are visible support this. Japan, Germany, Britain, and France, the great powers of tomorrow, are strong, prosperous, are modern industrial societies, but they can no longer be compared with China. Before the Chinese Revolution, especially in the colonial era, the Chinese were attacked by Western powers. When Britain ruled the subcontinent, it fought wars with China over the sale of opium. China was weak, of course, but it was not ready to make its population druggy. Britain fought not one but several wars and imposed agreements on China that allowed British exported opium to be sold openly in its markets. Revolutions have come again and again in recent times, and China has managed to achieve global prestige, internal solidarity, a modern industrial economy, and military might in the region in just 4 decades. In Pakistan, Ayub Khan's government undoubtedly did many good things for the country. One of them was to establish better relations with China. In Ayub's time, we were allies of the United States and other Western countries. And this alliance was basically against the communist countries. We had earlier convinced China that our military agreements with the United States were aimed at balancing against India, that we needed military equipment and economic aid, and that if the United States went to war against China, we will not join it. This was assured by our then Foreign Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra during a meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Zhou Enlai at the Bandung Conference. When the Sino-Indian border war broke out in 1962, we remained silent at the insistence of the United States. They promised that if we did not create problems for India in Kashmir on this occasion, the United States would do its utmost to resolve the post-war dispute through dialogue. But everyone saw how well the United States had lived up to its promise. When we agreed to redefine our borders with China, it accelerated our relationship towards prosperity. A series of talks began between the two. Our decision was bold, and our leaders refused to accept American pressure in this regard. The United States still pursued a policy to isolate China, but we went one step further in breaking the siege against China and reached an aviation agreement. As a result, Pakistan Airlines was the first non-participatory country to launch flights to China. Even before and after the 1970s, Chinese diplomats and other government officials used Pakistani routes for foreign trips. Relations between Pakistan and China deepened after the 1965 war, when the United States and its Western allies banned the sale of military equipment. China stood by us in those difficult times. In the last few decades, China has also undergone significant political and economic changes during this period. But there has been no difference in the basic structure of Pakistan China relations or the strategic alignment at the regional level. Cooperation in every conventional and non conventional field of defense production has been growing. Today, Pakistan is self sufficient in the most important defense sectors. The reflection of our friendship with China can be seen everywhere. As China made significant progress in defense and nuclear capabilities, its positive effects become apparent here in Pakistan as well. India carried out the nuclear blast in 1974, but sanctions began to be imposed on us as well. A comprehensive agreement on nuclear facilities was reached with France, but France deviated under the influence of the United States. Finally, China promised to support us on this occasion and installed not one but four nuclear reactors at Chashma, which are generating thousands of megawatts of clean and cheap electricity. Some more power generating units are under construction with the cooperation of China. The Pak China Economic Corridor has the potential to change the density of the region. We just need to see and understand it. A key element in history, geography, and international relations is the emergence of China as a world power. Although China's investment covers Europe, United States, Latin American countries, and even the continent of Africa, one of the purposes of its economic influence and expansion is to connect Central and West Asia and Pakistan to the new Silk Road. Several milestones have been set for this $1.2 trillion investment, meaning several projects are being completed. There is no country in the region, including Pakistan, where China is not investing and building energy projects, infrastructure, ports, and pipelines. Apart from Pakistan, China is also investing in many other countries to include them in its Belt and Road Initiative. Decades have passed, and the United States has been pursuing a strategy of paralyzing, weakening, and destroying Iran from within. Iran waited a long time for the West to come out of the shadow of the United States and start a normal deal with it. But this wait didn't end. Western countries did not pay attention to Iran. Following the recent agreement with China, which will result in China investing $400 billion, and also the direction of Iran's security and economic development now seems to be in line with that of Pakistan. Geographical realism has found a place in all three countries, and the prospects for moving forward are becoming brighter. China's shadow continues to grow and expand, but that does not mean that any kind of Cold War has resumed and that we or Iran will lose interest in trade and investment with the United States or the West. It is trying to move forward with a global perspective, but the benefits far outweigh in connecting and regional countries in every field.